Hey everyone, it's Ann. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to tell you a very powerful story. It's not my story, but I think a lot of you will feel pieces of yourself in it. This is a story of a man who struggled with his weight and his health for most of his life. A man who lost everything, who came so close to dying, but then something happened. He discovered the low-carb lifestyle, and slowly, one meal at a time, one decision at a time, he came back to life. I'm going to tell this story in his voice, as if I'm him, so that you could feel what he felt. If you're struggling right now, I hope this gives you a little hope. I really do. So let's begin. I don't know when it started. Maybe it was when I was a kid, hiding in the laundry room with a sleeve of cookies while my parents screamed at each other. Or maybe it was later, after high school, when everyone else seemed to have a path and I just wandered. But I remember the day I stopped recognizing the man in the mirror. I was 387 pounds, and I had just broken a plastic lawn chair under me at a birthday party. The crack was loud. People looked. One guy actually laughed. I tried to laugh too, tried to be that funny fat guy everyone could be comfortable around. But inside, I was already dying. Not just my body, my dignity, my hope. Whatever scraps I had left of pride, they were buried under layers of self-hatred and isolation. You think it's just a weight, but it's not. It's the shame of having to call ahead to see if a restaurant has booths or chairs. It's the humiliation of a doctor sighing, literally sighing, as they open your chart. It's that crushing moment when you realize your knees aren't sore from hiking or dancing, but from the simple act of standing too long in a checkout line. My world got smaller and smaller. First, I stopped going to the movies. Those seats weren't made for people like me. Then I stopped flying. Then weddings, reunions, even funerals. If I couldn't show up without people whispering about how big I'd gotten, I didn't want to show up at all. I was disappearing while getting bigger. You don't hit rock bottom once. You hit it, and then you fall through the floor and realize there's another level and another. Mine came on Tuesday. Not a dramatic day, just a regular gray Tuesday. I was sitting on the edge of my bed, out of breath from tying my shoes. My back was soaked with sweat. My stomach hung between my knees like a heavy sack. And I started thinking, really thinking, what if I just didn't wake up tomorrow? Would anybody care? I hadn't seen my kids in months. My ex-wife had given up on trying to get me to come to family events. My own brother had stopped calling. I told myself it was because people were busy, but deep down, I knew it was me. I had become too hard to love, and I was starting to believe I deserved that. I remember sitting in the exam room, the paper crinkling underneath me, my knees sweating, my heart pounding in that awful silence right before a doctor tells you the truth. He didn't even ease into it. "You're a ticking time bomb," he said. Then he rattled it off like a grocery list. Type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, advanced sleep apnea, liver damage, and signs of early heart failure. He said my blood work looked like someone twice my age. I nodded, not because I was surprised, but because I already knew. You don't walk around carrying that much pain on your body without knowing something's going to give. He said I probably had 5 years, maybe less. And the strange part was, I didn't even cry. I wasn't angry. I wasn't shocked. I just sat there and thought, yeah, that sounds about right. You'd think a wake-up call like that would spark a change, but I didn't go home and clean out my pantry. I didn't make a vision board or start meal prepping. I went to the drive-thru and I ordered exactly what I always did. Double burger, extra fries, large Coke, apple pie on the side. I ate it in the parking lot with the windows up, sweating through my shirt, not tasting a single bite, just shoveling it in like it was medicine. Because in some sick way, it was my medicine. It made the fear go away. It made the shame bearable for a minute. It filled the hole that was swallowing me from the inside out. I kept eating until my stomach hurt. Then I sat there, breathing hard, clutching the steering wheel with greasy fingers, and I thought, if I die like this, in this car, nobody's going to be surprised, not even me. I don't know how long I stayed like that, parked behind the fast food place, but something in me cracked that night. Not a breakthrough, not yet, just a little fracture in the wall I'd built around myself. A few days later, a message popped up on my phone. It was from Michael, a guy I hadn't talked to in years. Someone I used to work with, back when I still wore belts and tucked in my shirts. He said he'd seen one of my posts about being sick again and just wanted to check in. Then he asked, "Have you ever tried keto?" I stared at the message for a while. Honestly, I wanted to ignore it. I'd tried every diet known to man: low fat, high fiber shakes, bars, counting points, apps, you name it. They all worked until they didn't. But something about the way he asked, it wasn't pushy, it wasn't salesy, it felt real. So I wrote back, "Not really, what is it?" He sent me some links, a few transformation stories, some YouTube videos. I didn't answer him for a couple days, but I watched every single one of them. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel so alone. These people weren't bodybuilders. They weren't 20-something Instagram influencers. They were tired, sick, scared, and they were talking about food addiction like it was real, like it wasn't just about willpower, like it had a name, a face, a hold on them. Michael messaged me again. "I'll coach you if you want, no pressure, I just want to help." And that night I said yes. I didn't believe it would work, but I didn't want to die. The first 3 days were hell. Coming off sugar and carbs was like detox. I had headaches, cold sweats, nightmares, mood swings, body aches. I was shaking, I was angry, I was scared. Food had been my everything, my comfort, my punishment, my distraction. What was I going to replace it with? Water? Steak? But I kept checking in with Michael every single day. He'd respond with simple things. "Keep going. 3 days down, you're doing great. You're not weak, you're healing." I didn't believe him, but I believed in him, and that was enough. By the second week, something changed. I could tie my shoes without holding my breath. I could stand at the stove without leaning on the counter. My ankles weren't swollen anymore, and my heartburn was gone. I woke up one morning and realized I hadn't reached for Tums in 2 days. And I cried. I just stood there in the bathroom mirror, staring at myself, crying. Because it wasn't about the weight. It was about finally feeling like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't broken beyond repair. And the days turned into weeks. The scale went down. But even more than that, the fog started lifting. The shame started peeling off, layer by layer. I started calling my kids again. I started showing up to things. Not everything, but enough to remind me that I'm still alive. One of the hardest days came about 2 months in. I got dizzy at home. My heart started racing. I felt faint. My vision blurred. I was sure I was having a heart attack. I called 911. They ran tests, monitored everything, kept me overnight. Turned out it wasn't a heart attack. It was my body adjusting because my blood pressure had dropped so much I was over medicated. My blood sugar was finally normal. My meds were suddenly too strong. I went home from the hospital needing less medication. When does that ever happen? That night, I sat on the edge of the bed where I used to sit and wonder if I'd live to see another Christmas. And I whispered, "Thank you." Not to anyone in particular, just to the part of me that held on long enough to make it here. I'm not done. I don't think I'll ever be done. Because this isn't a before and after story. This is a never go back story. I still have days where the cravings hit. I still have moments where I look in the mirror and see the old me. But now I keep going because I know what it's like to almost not come back. I lost everything: my health, my family, my confidence, my voice. But somehow, through the pain, through the shame, through every single failed diet, I found my way. And if you're listening to this, if you're where I was, just know this: you're not lazy, you're not hopeless, and you're not alone. This life, this low carb life, it's not just about weight loss. It's about coming back to yourself. And I promise you, it's worth it. Okay, folks, I hope that you enjoyed Tom's story, but in so many ways, I've got to say, it's our story too. So many of us have lived in that quiet pain, carrying weight on our bodies and in our hearts, feeling like we've tried everything, feeling like there's something wrong with us because we can't get it together. But what I've learned and what I am learning, and what this man's story reminded me, is that healing doesn't always start with perfection. It starts with hope. And it starts with that one moment when we decide to try again. Not because you believe in yourself yet, but because deep down, something in you refuses to give up. And if you're in that place right now, folks, please know I see you. We all see you. I was you. And I'm telling you, this lifestyle works. Not just on the outside, but on the inside too. You can change your life. You are not too far gone, and you deserve to feel proud when you look in the mirror. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If this story spoke to you in any way, leave me a comment and tell me where you're at on your journey. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so we can keep doing this together. One step, one story, one day at a time. I'm Ann. I love you guys. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.